Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath. The air filling your lungs right now traveled thousands of miles to reach you. It was born in a kingdom older than history itself, a vast emerald cathedral where trees hold up the sky and the mist hides secrets from 50 million years ago. Tonight we travel back to the very lungs of our planet. Leave the noise of today behind and let the ancient rhythmic rain wash the world away. Welcome to the true story of the rainforest. Long before the first city rose from the dust, and long before the first human footstep pressed into the soil, there was only the green and the mist. Let your mind drift back now, floating gently like a leaf on a slow-moving river, traveling back through the centuries and millennia to a time when the earth was new and the air was thick with the heavy perfume of creation. Imagine a world where silence is not empty but full, a heavy and comforting silence that wraps around the globe like a warm blanket. In this ancient era, the continents are still huddled together in a great embrace, and the sun looks down upon a vast expanse of emerald that stretches from horizon to horizon without interruption. There are no roads here, no buildings, no ticking clocks to mark the passing of the hours, for time itself moves differently in this primordial landscape. It flows like thick honey, slow and sweet and golden. The air is warm and humid, holding the moisture of a million unfallen rains, and everywhere you look, there is the mist. It is a soft white vapor that rises from the damp earth, curling around the stems of giant ferns and drifting through the towering canopy like a slow-moving ghost. This mist is the breath of the young planet, a sign that the earth is alive and breathing, inhaling the sunlight and exhaling the clouds. As you walk in your imagination through this ancient forest, you can feel the softness of the ground beneath you, a thick carpet of moss and peat that has been building up for centuries, cushioning every step so that you move without making a sound. The trees here are not like the trees of today. They are giants of a different age, massive club mosses and towering horsetails that reach up hundreds of feet into the pale sky, their green scales absorbing the light, their roots drinking deep from the water-rich soil. There are no flowers yet, no flashes of bright red or yellow or blue, only an infinite ocean of green, from the deepest jade to the palest olive, a soothing palette that rests the eyes and calms the spirit. The light that filters down through the layers of vegetation is diffracted and soft, a twilight glow that reigns even at midday, creating a world of perpetual dusk where shadows are long and gentle. You can hear the sound of water, not a rushing river, but the slow, rhythmic dripping of condensation, drop by drop, falling from the high fronds to the forest floor. Plip, plip, plip. It is a hypnotic rhythm, nature's own metronome, counting down the moments of eternity. The air is so rich with oxygen that every breath you take feels invigorating and heavy, filling your lungs with a drowsy energy that makes your eyelids feel heavy and relaxed. This is the Carboniferous dream, the time when the great coal beds of the future were just layers of sleeping plants sinking slowly into the mud to rest for millions of years. In this humid embrace, life is exploding in slow motion, unfurling in spirals and fractals, the ferns unrolling their fiddleheads with agonizing slowness, stretching towards the warmth. There is no rush here, no urgency, for the forest knows it has millions of years to grow. The mist thickens as the day warms, creating a greenhouse of comfort where the temperature never fluctuates, a constant warm embrace that feels like a bath of tepid water. You are safe here, hidden within the vapors of time, protected by the sheer density of the life around you. High above, the sky is a milky white, obscured by the constant cloud cover generated by the forest itself, a roof of vapor that keeps the moisture locked in. This is a world of water and wood, a symbiotic dance where the plants call down the rain and the rain feeds the plants in an endless, perfect circle. As you move deeper into this primordial grove, you notice the size of everything. Dragonflies with wingspans like eagles glide silently through the damp air, their wings shimmering with iridescence, but they make no sound. They are simply part of the floating dream. The atmosphere is thick, almost like being underwater, where movements are slow and graceful. You can feel the humidity settling on your skin, a refreshing dew that connects you to the water cycle of the planet. This is where the story of the rainforest begins, in this cradle of mist, where the blueprint for the lungs of the world was first drawn. It is a place of deep gestation, a womb of greenery, where the earth is dreaming up the future. The stillness is profound. If you were to stop and stand perfectly still, you would hear nothing but the beating of your own heart, slowing down to match the rhythm of the dripping water. The ground is rich and dark, smelling of wet earth and decay and growth, the scent of life turning into life over and over again. It is a grounding scent, one that pulls you down toward sleep, reminding you that you are made of the same elements as this ancient forest: carbon, water, stardust, and time. The mist swirls around your ankles, cool and grounding, while the air around your face is warm and still. There is a sense of waiting here, a patient expectation, as if the forest is holding its breath, waiting for the millions of years to pass. But for now, in this moment, there is only the present, an eternal now that stretches out forever. The giant ferns sway imperceptibly, not from the wind, for there is hardly a breeze, but from the shifting weight of the water they hold. You can imagine curling up at the base of one of these ancient giants, nestling into the soft moss, letting the large fronds above you act as a roof, protecting you, hiding you, keeping you safe. The light begins to dim ever so slightly as the ancient sun dips lower, turning the mist from white to a soft glowing gray, a silver twilight that signals the time for deeper rest. The rhythm of the water droplets seems to slow down even more, becoming a lullaby. Drop, pause, drop, pause, drop. It creates a space between sounds where your mind can rest, a silence that is not empty but supportive.
This is the era before anxiety, before noise, before the complications of the modern world. It is a simple time of existence, of being, of breathing. The rainforests of today, the Amazon, the Congo, the Daintree, they all remember this time. It is written in their genetic code, a memory of the primordial mist that they try to recreate every single day. When you walk into a rainforest today, you are walking into a time capsule, stepping back into this very moment we are exploring now. But here, in our story, we are at the source, we are at the beginning. The foundation of deep sleep is being laid right here in the mud and the mist. The heavy air presses gently against your skin, like a weighted blanket, signaling to your nervous system that it is time to shut down, time to let go. The visuals of the green world start to blur as the mist becomes thicker, wrapping everything in cottony softness. You are floating in a cloud of ancient oxygen, nurtured by the very first breaths of the forest.
The boundaries between you and the earth begin to dissolve. You are not separate from this place. You are a part of it. Your breathing aligns with the respiration of the trees. They breathe out, you breathe in. You breathe out, they breathe in. A perfect exchange of life, happening slowly, rhythmically, peacefully. The ferns stand like sentinels, guarding your rest, their ancient shapes silhouetted against the glowing fog. There is no past to regret here, no future to worry about, only the sensation of moisture, warmth, and green darkness. It is the perfect environment for hibernation, for a sleep that goes deeper than dreams, down to the very core of your being. As the imaginary light fades further, the comfort only grows. The forest floor, with its layers of decaying plant matter, generates a gentle heat, a natural warmth that rises up to meet you. You are held in the hand of nature, cradled by the history of the earth. The mists are not just water, they are the veil of time, closing softly around you, shutting out the light, shutting out the sound, leaving you in a cocoon of peace. And as we linger here in the first chapter of the world, you can feel the heavy, sleepy pull of the primordial gravity, anchoring you, relaxing every muscle, smoothing out every line of tension. The world is young and it is sleeping, and you, nestled within its vast, verdant heart, are sleeping with it. The first rain begins to fall, so soft it is almost invisible, just a shimmering in the air, washing away any remaining thought, leaving only the sensation of heavy, drifting relaxation. The mist holds you, the green protects you, the silence heals you, and deep within the ancient earth, the rhythm of sleep takes over, slow, steady, and eternal. As the mist of the early world settles into the deep valleys of time, we find ourselves looking down upon a map that no modern eye has ever seen. Imagine the Earth not as a collection of scattered islands and isolated continents, but as a singular, magnificent embrace where the land masses are locked together in a hug that spans the southern hemisphere. This is the great supercontinent of Gondwana. It is a vast and unbroken tapestry of green, where a squirrel could theoretically travel from the heart of what is now Brazil all the way to the lush basin of the Congo without ever touching the ground. The world is whole here. The forest is one giant organism, breathing in unison under the prehistoric sun. But deep beneath the surface, down where the roots of the mountains touch the mantle, a slow and powerful change is beginning to stir. It is not a sudden violence, but a deep rhythmic awakening of the earth itself. Think of it as a sleeper turning over in a heavy dream. The core of the planet is hot and restless, and the great tectonic plates, which float upon the magma like rafts on a slow river, are beginning to drift. This is the beginning of the great dance of the continents, a dance so slow that a human lifetime would pass without noticing a single step. It is a movement measured in millimeters and centuries. Close your eyes and visualize the sheer scale of this separation. A seam begins to appear in the earth, running down the spine of the supercontinent. It is a silent unzipping of the land. A valley forms where the earth stretches thin, and into this low place the waters of the ocean begin to spill. It is the birth of the Atlantic, but right now it is just a narrow channel, a sliver of blue separating the future giants. On one side lies the massive plate of South America, carrying on its back the seed of the Amazon. On the other side is the vast plate of Africa, holding the cradle of the Congo. They are sisters, born of the same soil, drifting slowly apart. Feel the heaviness of the land moving. It is a grounding sensation, like a heavy blanket being pulled slow and steady across a bed. There is no rushing this process. The earth has all the time in the universe. As the rift widens, the ocean rushes in to fill the silence, creating a new barrier of salt and water. But the trees on either side are still the same. They are the green giants, the ancestors of the rainforests we know today. They stand tall on the cliff edges, watching their kin drift away into the distance. This separation creates the two greatest lungs of our planet. The Amazon begins its lonely journey westward, drifting across the globe, carried by the stone beneath it. Imagine the sensation of an entire continent floating. It is a stable and heavy drift. As South America moves, it pushes against the Pacific plate, and this collision is gentle but relentless, giving rise to the Andes Mountains. These mountains are crucial, for they will become the wall that catches the clouds. They will become the bowl that holds the rain. Without this drift, there would be no Amazon basin. The land dips and curves, creating a massive cradle, a geological hammock waiting to catch the water. It is a perfect design, engineered by the random and beautiful movements of the crust. Meanwhile, Africa remains more centered, a stable giant rotating slowly, holding its rainforest in a warm equatorial embrace.
The separation is now complete. The Atlantic Ocean is wide and deep, a vast expanse of blue silence that divides the green twins. But even though they are apart, they breathe together. When the sun rises over the Congo, the mist lifts from the canopy, and hours later, the same sun touches the Amazon, waking the birds and the insects. They are connected by the wind and the trade currents. Dust from the Sahara blows across the ocean to fertilize the soil of the Amazon, a gift from one separated sibling to another across the miles of water. This is the memory of Gondwana. The earth remembers when it was one. The soil remembers. And as you lie there, listening to the story of this drift, you can feel that same stability beneath you. You are resting on a plate that is also drifting, also moving, but so slowly that it feels like perfect stillness. The ground beneath your bed is part of this ancient dance. It is holding you up, just as it holds up the mountains and the trees. The energy required to move a continent is massive, yet the movement is peaceful. It is the ultimate expression of power under control. Let your mind drift like the continents. Let your thoughts separate and float away, leaving wide oceans of silence between them. There is plenty of space here. The Amazon basin stretches out vast and flat, a kingdom of sediment and soil that has been collecting for millions of years. It is a bowl of life. Every time it rains, the water flows down from the new mountains, pooling in the center, feeding the roots of the ancient trees. The Congo Basin creates a similar sanctuary, a deep green heart in the center of Africa. These are the green giants, the survivors of the breakup. They have weathered the shifting of the world, and they remain standing. The climate during this drift is warm and consistent. There are no ice ages here, only an endless summer that allows the green to grow thicker and deeper. The ferns become trees, the mosses become carpets, the vines become bridges connecting the canopy. It is a world of expansion. As the continents move apart, they carry their climates with them. The ocean currents change, swirling around the new land masses, bringing warm, moist air to the forests. This moisture is trapped by the canopy, creating the humidity that acts as a life force. You can feel this humidity in your imagination, a soft, warm weight on your skin, relaxing your muscles, softening the edges of your day. The history of the Earth is a history of slow change. Nothing happens overnight. The mountains rise inch by inch. The rivers carve their paths, grain of sand by grain of sand. The continents drift, fingernail length by fingernail length. This slowness is comforting.
It reminds us that there is no need to rush. The world unfolds exactly as it should, in its own time. The break of Gondwana was not a tragedy, but a new beginning. It multiplied the diversity of life. It created two worlds out of one. And now, millions of years later, we can look back and see the perfection of it. The way the South American coast fits perfectly into the African coast, like a puzzle piece waiting to be reconnected. It is a reminder of unity, a reminder that everything is connected.
As you drift deeper into sleep, imagine you are lying on the forest floor of that ancient supercontinent just before the split. The ground is solid, the air is still. You are at the center of the world. Then, gently, you feel the movement, a rocking motion, like a boat on a calm sea. It is the continent carrying you towards a new horizon, carrying you towards rest. The separation puts distance between you and the noise, between you and the worry. You are drifting away on a majestic island of green. The ocean between you and the waking world grows wider and wider. The blue water absorbs the sound. The distance absorbs the stress. You are safe on your drifting plate. The green giants stand guard around you. Their roots go deep into the shifting soil, holding everything together. The geology of the earth is the geology of sleep. Layers of rock, layers of time, layers of dreams. Deep down in the mantle, the fire burns, slow and steady, warming the rock, driving the movement. But up here on the surface, in the cool shade of the rainforest, there is only peace. The giant ferns wave goodbye to the eastern horizon. The sun sets over the new ocean, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. The first night of the new world falls, a night that will last for millions of years. The stars look down on the separated lands, and they see no borders, only patches of green breezing in the dark. The Amazon sighs, the Congo whispers. They settle into their new positions on the globe, anchored by gravity, floating on magma, wrapped in clouds. This is the era of the great settling. The land finds its place, and you find yours. You settle into your pillow just as the Amazon settled into its basin. You find the groove in the mattress just as the river found its groove in the valley. The parallel is perfect. You are part of nature. You are part of this history. The slow dance of the earth is your dance too, a dance of rest, a dance of silence. The tectonic plates have done their work for the day. They have moved their fraction of an inch. Now they rest, and you rest with them. The momentum of the world slows down. The spinning feels gentle. The drifting feels divine. You are a traveler on the great raft of the earth, and the destination is deep restorative sleep. The green giants watch over you. Their leaves form a canopy against the void. Their trunks are pillars of strength. You are small and safe in the shadow of history. The break is over. The healing has begun. The distance is quiet. The ocean is calm. The forest is sleeping, and so are you, drifting, floating, sleeping.
Now that the land has drifted into place and the basins have been carved by the hands of time, we step out of the open air and into the sanctuary itself. Imagine yourself walking slowly through a grand entrance, not made of stone or iron, but of living wood and shadow. You are entering the Cathedral of Trees. The light here changes instantly as you cross the threshold, leaving behind the harsh brightness of the open sky and stepping into a world of eternal twilight. It is a dim and holy place where the sun is revered but kept at a distance, filtering down only in sacred beams that cut through the haze like solid bars of gold. Look around you and witness the architecture of the ancients. These are not merely plants, they are pillars of the earth, huge and silent columns that rise up and up until they seem to touch the very roof of the world. These are the emergents, the kings and queens of the rainforest, rising 100 or 200 feet into the air. Stand at the base of a massive kapok tree or a giant mahogany and simply breathe in the presence of something that has stood in this exact spot for centuries. The trunk before you is so wide that it would take 10 people holding hands to circle it. It is a wall of wood, a fortress of biology that feels as solid as granite. Reach out in your mind and run your hand over the bark. It is rough and cool, damp with the moisture of the forest, textured with the history of 1,000 rainstorms. This tree was a sapling when the world was a different place, and it has grown slowly, silently, ring by ring, layer by layer, expanding its reach and its wisdom. Notice the buttress roots that snake out from the base of the trunk. They are like the flying buttresses of a Gothic cathedral, massive wooden fins that stand taller than a human, curving elegantly into the soil to anchor the giant against the wind. They create small rooms and alcoves between them, private shelters where the shadows are deep and comforting. You could curl up between two of these great roots and feel completely protected, hidden away in the wooden embrace of the giant. The ground here is soft and spongy, a quiet carpet that absorbs every footstep so that you move in total silence. There is a reverence here, a feeling that you are in a library or a temple where noise is forbidden and peace is the only law. Look up now, slowly craning your neck to follow the vertical lines of the forest. The trunks rise straight and true, like arrows aimed at the heavens. They are stripped bare of branches in the lower levels, focusing all their energy on the climb up towards the light. It creates a sense of immense open space down here on the forest floor, a vast open nave with a high vaulted ceiling far above. You are small here, but not insignificant. You are a guest in the house of time. The stillness of these trees is contagious. They do not rush, they do not worry, they simply stand. They hold their ground with a patience that we can barely comprehend.
As you look at them, you feel your own body wanting to mimic their stillness. Your spine straightens and then relaxes, finding its own center of gravity, just like the tree. Your feet feel heavy and rooted, as if invisible threads are growing from your heels down into the deep, rich earth, connecting you to the stability of the planet. The air inside this cathedral is distinct. It is cool and rich, filled with the oxygen pumped out by the millions of leaves above. It smells of resin and damp wood, of old leaves and wet stone, a scent that is ancient and grounding. It is the smell of safety. As you breathe it in, you can feel it clearing your mind, washing away the clutter of modern thoughts, leaving only the simple awareness of the present moment. High above you, the canopy forms the roof of this great structure. It is not a solid roof, but a mosaic, a stained glass window made of 1 billion green leaves. The leaves do not touch each other. They practice a phenomenon known as crown shyness, where the edges of each tree's canopy stop just inches from its neighbor, leaving winding channels of light between them. It looks like a map of river tributaries glowing against the dark green. This ceiling filters the sunlight, turning it into a soft, verdant glow that is kind to the eyes and soothing to the spirit. There is no glare here, only a diffuse softness that wraps around everything like a gauze. The majestic pillars of the trees hold up this ceiling, bearing the weight of the sky so you don't have to. You can let go of your burdens here because the forest is strong enough to carry them for you. The strength of the rainforest is not an aggressive strength, It is a passive, enduring strength. It is the strength of the mountain and the strength of the stone. It is the ability to weather the storm by simply standing fast. As you visualize these ancient sentinels, you can feel a deep sense of security washing over you. Nothing can shake these trees, and in this moment, nothing can shake you. You are protected by the density of the wood and the depth of the forest. The outside world, with its noise and its rush, feels very far away. It is miles and miles distant, separated from you by walls of green and curtains of mist. Here in the center, there is only the slow pulse of the sap rising and falling. Imagine the water traveling up inside the trunk. It is a slow, hidden river, moving against gravity, drawn up by the sun. It travels silently through the veins of the wood, carrying life from the dark soil to the bright leaves. This internal movement is the heartbeat of the forest, a rhythm so slow it can only be felt, not heard. Align your breathing with this rhythm. Inhale slowly as the sap rises. Exhale slowly as the roots settle deeper. The bark of the trees is an ecosystem in itself, covered in velvet mosses and delicate lichens that paint the wood in shades of emerald and silver. These soft textures dampen sound, making the forest one of the quietest places on earth. It is a silence that feels heavy and thick, a silence that you can wrap around yourself like a heavy quilt.
In this cathedral, there are no choirs, only the whisper of the wind and the high branches far above. It is a distant sound, like the ocean, hushed and rhythmic. It reminds you that the air is moving, even if you were perfectly still. The vastness of the trees puts everything into perspective. Their lifespan is measured in centuries. They have seen empires rise and fall, while they simply continued to grow, one ring at a time. This perspective is a gift. It tells you that your worries are small and temporary, while peace is ancient and permanent. You are leaning against the trunk of a massive ceiba tree now in your mind. The wood is warm against your back, absorbing your body heat, reflecting it back to you. You feel supported. You feel held. The texture of the wood is solid and real against your spine. You can let your full weight rest against it. The tree will not move. It has been here since before you were born, and it will be here long after you leave. It is a monument to endurance. As you rest here in the nave of the green cathedral, you notice how the light begins to shift. The sun is moving across the sky, and the shafts of gold are slanting lower, changing the shadows, making the pillars seem even taller and more imposing. But they are gentle giants. They are the guardians of your sleep. Their branches, far overhead, spread out like open hands, blessing the forest floor below, shielding the delicate ferns and the sleeping animals. You are one of those protected creatures now. You are safe in the understory. The architecture of the forest is designed to shelter. The layers of vegetation act as insulation, keeping the temperature perfect, keeping the wind away, keeping the world at bay. It is a room built by nature for the specific purpose of rest. The vertical lines of the trunks draw your eye downward towards the earth, towards the roots, towards the darkness of the soil. This is the direction of sleep. Down into the heavy comfort of the ground, down into the dark. The trees are the bridge between the sun and the soil, and you are resting at the foundation. Feel the solidity of the earth beneath you. It is the floor of the cathedral, packed tight by millions of years of rainfall and leaf fall. It is the most comfortable bed in the world, conforming to your shape, holding you up. The visuals are fading now as your eyes grow heavy. The green pillars blur into soft gray shapes, standing guard in the twilight. The mosaic ceiling above dims as the light withdraws.
The cathedral is closing its doors for the night, preparing for the holy silence of darkness. But the presence of the trees remains. You can feel them standing around you, a circle of ancient friends watching over your slumber. Their strength is your pillow, their stillness is your blanket. You are safe within the architecture of the ancients. The walls of the forest are thick and protective. The roof is watertight and secure. The foundation is deep and unshakable. There is nothing left to do but to surrender to the atmosphere of this holy place, to let the quiet seep into your bones, to let the slowness of the trees slow down your own heart, to stand still, to rest, to be part of the wood and the earth. The cathedral is silent. The service is over. The peace remains, deep and heavy and green. You are drifting among the pillars, floating between the trunks, sinking into the root systems, one with the forest, one with the silence, one with the sleep that has been waiting for you here in the heart of the cathedral for a very long time. The giants hold up the sky so you can close your eyes and rest.
We shift our gaze now from the solid pillars of the trees to the invisible spaces between them where a miracle of the air is taking place. There is a river you cannot see, a river that does not flow over rocks or through valleys, but flows above your head, drifting silently through the atmosphere. This is the river in the sky. To understand this great invisible waterway, we must look closely at the leaves, those billions and billions of green solar panels that form the canopy. Imagine a single leaf, a perfect masterpiece of biology, hanging high in the warm air. It is doing something magical, something that connects the deep, dark soil to the bright blue sky. It is breathing. Just as you are breathing right now with a slow and steady rhythm, the forest is exhaling. This process is called transpiration, but let us call it the breath of the world. Deep underground, the roots are drinking the rainwater that has soaked into the earth. They pull this cool moisture up through the veins of the trunk, defying gravity, lifting the water higher and higher until it reaches the very tips of the branches. And there, in the warmth of the sun, the water changes its form. It transforms from liquid to vapor, escaping through tiny microscopic pores on the underside of the leaf. It is a silent alchemy. The water turns into mist, invisible and weightless, and floats up into the sky. Multiply this single leaf by the trillions. Imagine the collective breath of the entire rainforest. It is said that a single large tree can release hundreds of gallons of water into the air in a single day. Now imagine the entire Amazon, the entire Congo exhaling together. They are pumping a massive ocean of vapor upwards, creating their own weather, creating their own atmosphere. This is the sweat of the earth, but it is clean and pure. It rises like a phantom tide, lifting from the green sea of the canopy. As you visualize this picture, the air around you seems to grow softer and more humid. You can feel the moisture in the air, nurturing your skin, comforting your lungs. This humidity is not oppressive, it is life-giving. It is a blanket of hydration that wraps the world in softness. As the vapor rises, it meets the cooler air above the forest, and there it begins to condense. This is the birth of the clouds. Watch in your mind's eye as wisps of white begin to form against the deep azure of the sky. They start as thin veils, delicate as spiderwebs, and then they grow, gathering strength and substance. These are the famous flying rivers, the aerial waterways that carry more water than the Amazon River itself. It is a staggering thought that there is a river flowing above the trees that is larger than the river flowing beneath them. But this river makes no sound. It creates no splashing, no rushing noise, only a profound and heavy silence.
It flows on the wind, driven by the rotation of the earth, moving slowly westward. These clouds are the great galleons of the sky, sailing across the continent, carrying rain to distant lands. It is a cycle of infinite generosity. The forest gives its water to the sky, and the sky carries it away to water the plains and the mountains miles away. As you lie there, breathing in and breathing out, you are mimicking this great natural process. You are part of the cycle. The forest breathes out and the sky breathes in. The sky breathes out rain and the earth breathes in. It is a rhythm that has been sustaining the planet for eons. Close your eyes and imagine you can see the vapor rising. It looks like a faint shimmering heat haze, distorting the light just above the treetops. It creates a dreamlike quality to the view, making everything look slightly soft and impressionistic. The hard edges of the world are blurred by this mist. The boundaries between earth and sky are dissolved. There is only a gradient of blue and green, connected by the rising water. This river in the sky acts as a shield, protecting the forest from the harshness of the sun. The clouds reflect the heat back into space, keeping the forest floor cool and temperate. It is a self-regulating system, a thermostat set to perfection. The trees are the engineers of this climate, creating the conditions they need to survive. It is a lesson in self-care. The forest knows what it needs, and it creates it. It does not wait for the rain, it summons it. It does not hide from the sun, it uses it. As the day progresses, the clouds thicken, turning from wispy white to a deep bruising purple, heavy with the promise of rain. But that rain is for later. For now, we are just watching the formation. We are watching the accumulation of peace. The clouds look like giant pillows floating in the ether, soft, white, heavy. They invite you to rest your head upon them, to drift along with the trade winds, supported by the moisture of the forest. The science of this is complex, but the feeling of it is simple. It feels like a sigh, a great planetary sigh of relief. The tension is released from the earth in the form of vapor. And as you listen, the tension is released from your body in the form of a long, slow exhalation. Let it go. Let your worries evaporate like the morning dew. Let them rise up and away, leaving you clear and light. The air in the rainforest is the cleanest air on earth, scrubbed by the rain and oxygenated by the trees. Every breath you take in this imaginary landscape is a healing breath. It is filled with the phytosides and natural compounds of the plants, substances that lower your heart rate and calm your nervous system. You are inhaling the medicine of the wild. The river in the sky is also a river of energy, distributing the heat of the equator around the globe. It is a benevolent flow, balancing the world, making it habitable. It is a comforting thought to know that this system is working right now, even while you sleep. The trees are standing guard, pumping water, making clouds, keeping the world turning. You do not need to do anything. The forest has it covered. You can resign from your duties as the general manager of the universe for the night. The mosses are working, the leaves are working, the clouds are working. You are free to rest, to simply be. The visual of the flying river is hypnotic, endless streams of white vapor flowing in slow motion across the blue canvas. It is like watching a slow-moving glacier of air. There is no beginning and no end, only the flow. It carries your mind away from the stagnant thoughts of the day and into the current of dreams. You are drifting downstream on a river of cloud. The sun is warm on your face, but the mist keeps you cool. You are weightless, suspended in the humidity. Below you, the green carpet of the jungle stretches out forever, but you are above it now, floating in the silence of the upper atmosphere. The air here is thin and crisp. The silence is absolute. You are riding the breath of the huge trees. You are being carried by the exhalation of the earth. It is a gentle propulsion pushing you softly towards the shores of sleep. The moisture in the air acts as a muffler, dampening all sharp sounds. The world feels padded and soft. The edges are rounded. The colors are muted. It is a watercolor world, washing away the sharp lines of reality. The river in the sky connects everything. It connects the ocean to the mountains. It connects the forest to the plains. It connects the past to the future. And tonight, it connects you to the deep rest you deserve. The water that flows in your veins is the same water that flows in this sky river. It is the same hydrogen and oxygen that has been circling the globe for billions of years. You are kin to the cloud. You are family to the rain. Feel this connection as a warm sensation in your chest, a feeling of belonging. You are not separate from nature. You are a droplet in its river. You are safe in the great circulation of life. The afternoon heat begins to wane in our story, and the clouds hang low and heavy, hovering just above the treetops. They are waiting, holding their treasure. The air stands still. The birds quiet down. The whole forest pauses in reverence for the water that hangs above it. This pause is the threshold of sleep, the moment between the inhale and the exhale, the moment of perfect stillness. Dwell in this moment, float in this stillness. The river in the sky has slowed its current. It is pooling around you like a warm bath. The vapor holds you up. The green world below is fading into the mist. You are entirely surrounded by the softness of the clouds. The breath of the forest has become your breath, slow, deep, rhythmic, peaceful. The heavy clouds are a blanket pulled up to your chin. The humidity is a warm hand on your forehead. The river flows on, silent and eternal, carrying you deeper and deeper into the white, soft, comfortable dark. You are water. You are air. You are asleep. We descend now from the airy heights of the Cloud River, drifting down through the layers of the canopy, past the mid-story and settling softly onto the very foundation of the forest. Welcome to the Understory. Welcome to the forest floor. Here, the world undergoes a profound change. The bright, blinding light of the equatorial sun has been filtered out, caught by the millions of leaves above, leaving only a soft, diffused twilight that reigns perpetually in this lower kingdom. Only about 2% of the sunlight ever reaches this ground, making it a realm of eternal shadow and cool, dim mystery. It is like stepping into a dimly lit room after being out in the bright noon glare. Your eyes relax instantly. The strain vanishes. The colors here are not the vibrant emeralds of the treetops, but deeper shades of moss green, olive brown, and rich dark sepia. The air is still here, so very still. While the wind might dance in the branches 200 feet above, down here the air does not move. It hangs heavy and protective, a stable pocket of atmosphere that wraps around you like a heavy quilt. The temperature is significantly cooler here in the shadows. It is a refreshing coolness, a damp relief that soothes the skin and calms the blood. Close your eyes and imagine lying down on this ancient floor. It is not hard rock or cold stone. It is a thick, luxurious carpet built over thousands of years. It is made of fallen leaves, twigs, and organic matter that is slowly returning to the earth. It is soft and spongy beneath you, conforming to the shape of your body, holding you with a gentle firmness. The smell of the understory is the smell of time itself. It is the scent of wet earth, of mushrooms, of damp bark, and of sweet decay. It is a grounding scent, a primitive perfume that signals safety to the deepest parts of your brain. In this quiet gloom, life moves at a different pace. It is the pace of the snail and the millipede, the pace of the fungus growing silently on a fallen log. Look closely in the dim light, and you will see the shapes of the first plants that ever conquered land. The ancient ferns are here, huge and architectural, unfurling their fronds in slow motion. They love the shadows. They thrive in the dampness. Their leaves are delicate and lacy, creating intricate patterns against the dark background. They stand like green fountains, silent and graceful. Amongst the ferns are the saplings, the babies of the giant trees we saw earlier. They are waiting. They are practicing the art of patience. They may wait in the shadows for decades, growing only an inch a year, waiting for a gap to open in the canopy above so they can make their dash for the sun. But until then, they rest. They conserve their energy. They teach us that there is no need to rush, that there is a time for action and a time for stillness. The forest floor is the time for stillness. It is the bedroom of the jungle. As you explore this darkened world, you notice the roots. They are everywhere. Great gnarled pythons of wood winding across the surface of the soil. They intertwine and overlap, creating a chaotic yet perfect net that holds the earth together. Some roots are covered in velvet moss, soft to the touch, like the fur of a sleeping animal.
Others are smooth and bare stepping stones for the tiny creatures that live here. These roots are the anchors. They remind you to stay grounded, to keep your connection to the earth strong. In the dim light, shapes seem to blur. Is that a rock or a sleeping turtle? Is that a vine or a shadow? It does not matter. Everything here is resting. The shadows are not frightening, they are comforting. They are the absence of demand. They hide you from the world. In the shadows, you do not need to perform, you do not need to be anything. You just need to be. The Understory is also a place of recycling. A fallen branch does not die. It becomes a nurse log, a home for mosses and beetles and seedlings. It gives its life back to the soil. This cycle is slow and silent. You can almost hear the hum of the decomposition, a microscopic symphony of renewal. It is a comforting thought that nothing is ever wasted here. Everything is used, everything is valued, everything is part of the circle. The light that does make it down here comes in sunflecks, little coins of gold that dance across the floor as the leaves above move in the wind. These spots of light are hypnotic. Watch them shift and fade and reappear. They are the only clock in this timeless place. The soundscape of the floor is different too. It is muffled. The layers of vegetation absorb the noise, creating a recording studio silence. When a leaf falls, you can hear it tick against the branch and then land with a soft whisper on the ground. Tick, whisper, silence. It is a minimalist soundtrack designed for meditation. There are animals here, but they are the quiet ones. The tapir, moving silently on padded hooves, sniffing the damp air. The jaguar, sleeping in the curve of a root, camouflaged by the dappled light. They are not hunting now. They are resting, waiting for the cover of true night. You are safe amongst them. You are part of the landscape. The humidity here is nearly 100%. The air is so full of water, it feels like you are breathing in a cloud. This moisture hydrates your throat and lungs, softening your breath. Every inhale is a drink of water for your body. The dampness keeps the world soft. There are no brittle edges here. Everything is pliable, damp, and yielding. The mosses are the masters of this domain. They cover the stones, the logs, and the base of the trees in 1,000 shades of green. Reach out and touch a patch of moss in your mind. It is cool, damp, and incredibly soft. It springs back under your fingers. It is nature's pillow. You could rest your head on a mound of this moss and sleep for 100 years. The shadows of the understory lengthen as the day goes on, but the change is subtle because it is always twilight here. It is a permanent evening, a state of perpetual winding down. This is the psychological state of the forest floor.
It is the state of just before sleep, the heavy eyelids of the jungle. The dark corners of the forest are not empty, they are full of secrets. Tiny frogs, no bigger than your thumbnail, hide under the leaves, their bright colors glowing in the dimness. They sit perfectly still, conserving moisture, conserving life. They are masters of doing nothing. We can learn from them. We can learn to sit still, to hide under the blanket of the atmosphere and just breathe. The intertwining roots beneath you form a cradle. You are nestled in the complex web of life, supported by the history of the forest. The soil beneath you is deep and dark, rich with the carbon of millions of years. It is a battery of life, storing energy. As you lie there, you can imagine drawing up that energy, that stability into your own body. Your legs feel heavy like the roots. Your back feels solid like the log. Your breathing slows to match the slow decay and growth of the floor. The shadows wrap around you like a dark silk scarf, soft and cool. They blur the lines of your body until you are just another shape on the forest floor, just another peaceful element of the understory. The frantic energy of the canopy, where the monkeys jump and the birds call, feels very far away. That is the world of the awake. This is the world of the resting. The vertical pillars of the trees rise up around you, disappearing into the roof of leaves. But down here, you are grounded. You are at the base of things. There is a humility to the forest floor. It accepts everything that falls. It holds everything that rests. It is the great receiver. Give your worries to the floor. Let them drop like dead leaves. The forest will compost them. It will turn them into something new, something fertile. You do not need to carry them anymore. Drop them. Let them go. The darkness is gentle. It is not pitch black, but a deep, soothing gray-green. It rests the cones and rods of your eyes. It allows your brain to stop processing visual data and start processing dreams. The cool air strokes your forehead. The smell of the earth fills your senses. The silence fills your ears. You are hidden. You are safe. You are deeply relaxed. The understory is the subconscious of the forest, deep, dark, and teeming with silent life. It is where the dreams of the trees are made, and now it is where your dreams are made too. Drift deeper into the shadows. Curl up in the fern fronds. Let the moss cover you. Let the roots hold you. The world above can carry on with its noise and its light, but down here, in the shadows of the understory, there is only peace. There is only the damp, cool, eternal hug of the earth. Sleep is rising up from the ground to meet you. It is a dark tide of relaxation. It washes over your feet, your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your head. You are submerged in the quiet. You are one with the floor. The ancient ferns stand guard. The silence is absolute. Sleep. Sleep in the shadows. Sleep in the peace of the deep green world.
Water is the blood of the earth, and rivers are its veins. But the Amazon is something more. It is a spine, a nervous system, a living entity that has been sleeping in the mud for millions of years. To understand the forest, we must understand the water that feeds it.
Imagine looking down from the silence of space upon the South American continent. You see a winding silver line, a ribbon of light that snakes its way from the mountains to the sea. This is the Great Serpent. But the serpent did not always lie this way. There is a secret history written in the sediments of the riverbed, a story of a great reversal, a time when the world turned upside down. Close your eyes and let your mind drift back into the deep geological past, back to a time when the Andes Mountains did not exist. In this ancient era, the Great Serpent flowed from the east to the west. It was born in the highlands of Africa and South America when they were still connected, and it poured its waters into the Pacific Ocean. Imagine the river flowing backwards compared to today. It was a different world, a world where the water sought the setting sun. But the earth is never still. The earth is a restless sleeper, constantly shifting its position. Slowly, over eons, the tectonic plates beneath the Pacific Ocean began to slide under the South American continent. It was a movement of immense power, but it happened with the slowness of a growing fingernail. This collision began to push the land upward. Inch by inch, foot by foot, the great wall of the Andes began to rise. These mountains were young and raw, pushing their jagged peaks into the clouds. As they rose, they created a massive dam, blocking the path of the ancient river. The Great Serpent was trapped. It could no longer flow to the west. It could no longer reach the Pacific. And so the water began to pool. Imagine a vast inland sea forming in the heart of the continent, a world of still, quiet water covering what is now the Amazon basin. This was the great pause in the history of the river. For millions of years, the water simply sat there, waiting. It was a kingdom of silence, a shallow, swampy ocean where ancient crocodiles drifted and giant turtles swam in the lazy currents. The sediment from the mountains washed down and settled on the bottom, creating a layer of clay and sand that would one day become the fertile floor of the rainforest. The serpent was coiled and waiting. It was sleeping in a lake of its own making. The water was heavy and still, reflecting the prehistoric sky like a mirror. There was no rush here, no urgency, only the accumulation of time and water. This period of stillness is important. It reminds us that sometimes we must stop before we can move forward. Sometimes we must wait for the way to open. And eventually, the way did open. The continent continued to tilt, very slightly, dipping towards the east. Gravity, the silent master of the tides, began to pull at the inland sea. The water sensed a new direction. The Great Serpent woke from its slumber and turned its massive head. It turned away from the blocked path of the west and looked towards the east, towards the Atlantic. With a slow, unstoppable force, the water began to carve a new path. It broke through the sandstone ridges, it eroded the ancient hills, and it began to flow. The Amazon was reborn. The river reversed its course entirely.
It was a geological miracle. The water that once sought the sunset now sought the sunrise. Imagine the relief of that release. The water finding its flow again, moving with purpose towards the open sea. This is the river we know today, the king of rivers. It is a body of water so vast that it defies comprehension. It carries 20% of all the fresh water on Earth. It is not just a river, it is a moving ocean. As you visualize this silver serpent winding through the green landscape, feel the power of its flow. It is a slow, deep power. The Amazon is not a rushing torrent of white water. It is a majestic, heavy slide of liquid. It moves with a dignity that comes from size. In some places, the river is so wide that you cannot see the other bank. It is just water and sky, a horizon of liquid silver. The surface of the river is smooth and oily, calm, unbroken by waves unless the wind picks up.
It looks like a sheet of hammered metal reflecting the clouds and the trees. Under the surface, the water is rich with silt, the powdered remains of the Andes Mountains. This silt gives the river its coffee and cream color, a nutrient-rich soup that feeds the ocean. The great serpent carries the mountains to the sea, one grain of sand at a time. It is a burden it carries gladly. As you lie in your bed, imagine that you are a piece of driftwood floating on this great river. You are buoyant and weightless, supported by the strong, warm current. You do not need to swim. You do not need to steer. The river knows the way. It is carrying you east, carrying you towards the dawn, carrying you towards the vast peace of the ocean. The movement is barely perceptible. It is just a gentle gliding sensation. The scenery on the banks drifts by in a slow panoramic blur. Walls of green trees, tangled vines, splashes of color from wading birds. But you are in the center of the channel, where it is quiet and deep. The sound of the river is a low-frequency hum, a vibration that you feel more than you hear. It is the sound of millions of gallons of water moving against the earth. It is a white noise that drowns out all other sounds. The great serpent whispers to you. It tells you stories of the time before time. It tells you that change is natural, that even the greatest river can change its course, that if you hit a blockage in your life, you can simply turn and find a new way, just like the water did. The river is resilient, it is persistent, and above all, it is calm. As night falls over the Amazon in our story, the river undergoes a transformation. The brown water turns to blank ink, reflecting the stars and the moon. The silver serpent becomes a starry road. The moonlight dances on the ripples, creating a pathway of light that stretches into the distance. It is a hypnotic sight. The water laps gently against the muddy banks. Slap, slush, slap, slush. A rhythmic lullaby that has been playing for millions of years. The river creates its own breeze, a cool draft of air that moves over the water, relieving the heat of the day. This breeze touches your face, cooling your skin, soothing your brow. You are safe on the back of the serpent. It is a guardian spirit, a protector of the forest, and a protector of your sleep. The indigenous people of the Amazon call it the Rio Mar, the river sea. They treat it with reverence, knowing that it is the source of all life. Tonight, you share that reverence. You respect the power and the peace of the water. Deep beneath you, in the dark channels, giant catfish swim slowly, their whiskers feeling the mud. Pink river dolphins glide through the murky water like ghosts of the deep. They are part of the river's dream. The flow is continuous. It never stops. It never pauses. It is the definition of consistency. While you sleep, the river flows. While you wake, the river flows. It is a constant in a changing world. Let your breathing match the flow of the Amazon. Let your breath result in a long, slow exhale, like the river emptying into the sea. There is no end to the water. It comes from the clouds, falls on the mountains, flows down the river, and returns to the ocean, only to rise as clouds again. It is the perfect circle. You are part of this circle. Your breath is part of this cycle. The great serpent is wrapping its coils around the continent, holding the rainforest together. Without the river, there would be no forest. Without the water, there would be no life. It is the main artery of the planet, and right now, it is the vehicle for your relaxation. Imagine the map of the river in your mind, the thousands of tributaries feeding into the main channel, like veins feeding into a heart. the Rio Negro with its black tea-colored water, the Solimões with its pale sandy water. They meet and flow side by side for miles, not mixing, just flowing together. It is a beautiful dance of waters. Everything in the basin eventually finds its way to the river. Gravity guides it home. Let gravity guide you now. Let it pull your shoulders down, away from your ears. Let it pull your back into the mattress. Let it pull your eyelids down. You are sinking deeper, not into water, but into comfort. The great serpent is a sleepy creature. It moves slowly because it is heavy with history. It is tired from its long journey from the mountains. It is seeking the rest of the ocean, and you are seeking the rest of the night. The river widens as it approaches the delta, becoming so broad that the banks disappear entirely. You are floating into the infinite. The boundary between river and sea dissolves. The boundary between waking and sleeping dissolves. There is only the sensation of floating, floating on silver water under a silver moon. The history of the earth is a bedtime story. The mountains rising, the river turning, the water flowing. It is a story of slow, peaceful change, a story that ends in rest. The great serpent has brought you here, to the mouth of the sea, to the edge of dreams. The current slows down even more. The water becomes still. You have arrived. The journey is over for now. The river sleeps, the forest sleeps, the serpent sleeps, and you, in the safety of your bed, are drifting along with them, carried by the ancient water, held by the gentle flow, safe, calm, asleep.
For millions of years, the forest sang its song to an audience of jaguars and birds. But eventually, a new sound was added to the symphony, a sound so soft it could barely be distinguished from the rustling of the leaves. It was the sound of the first human footstep, pressing gently into the moss. We travel back now through the mists of time to the arrival of the guardians. These were the ancient indigenous tribes, the first people to call the rainforest home. They did not arrive as conquerors or masters, but as guests, walking softly with reverence and awe. Imagine them stepping out of the shadows, not with fear, but with a deep knowing, as if they were returning to a place they had always belonged. These first people were masters of silence. They learned to move through the undergrowth without snapping a twig, without disturbing the slumber of the butterfly. They moved like the smoke moves, fluid and silent, winding their way through the massive trunks of the ceiba and the mahogany. To watch them walk was to watch a dance of respect. They understood that they were not separate from the web of life, but were merely one strand in the great tapestry of the green world. As you visualize these ancient ancestors, feel the sense of harmony they carried in their hearts. They did not see the forest as a resource to be used, but as a parent to be honored. The trees were their brothers, and the rivers were their sisters. This connection created a life of profound peace, a life lived in rhythm with the rising and setting of the sun. There were no clocks in this world, only the changing light and the calling of the birds. Imagine a small clearing in the deep forest, a sanctuary carved out by nature where a small group of these guardians has settled. The huts are simple structures made from the gifts of the forest, palm fronds woven together with vines, standing on stilts to let the air flow underneath. They look organic, as if they grew there naturally. There is a fire burning in the center of the village, a small controlled flame that offers warmth and safety. The smoke rises in a thin, straight line, carrying the scent of burning resin, a sweet and earthy incense that calms the mind.
Sit by this imaginary fire now and watch the daily life of the tribe unfolding in slow motion. An elder sits on a woven mat, her hands busy with the work of creating a basket. Watch her fingers moving over and over again, weaving the palm fibers in a hypnotic rhythm. Over and under, over and under. The repetition is soothing. It speaks of a patience that we have forgotten in our modern world. She is in no rush. The basket will be finished when it is finished. Her breathing is slow and steady, matched to the rhythm of her work. Around her, the forest whispers its secrets. The indigenous people believed that the plants had voices, that the roots could talk to those who knew how to listen. They knew which leaf could heal a wound, and which bark could cure a fever. This was the wisdom of the green, passed down in whispers from generation to generation. It was a knowledge born of deep attention, of sitting still and listening to the world. Imagine walking with one of the hunters through the dense foliage. He does not run. He stands perfectly still, merging with the shadows. He waits. He practices the art of invisibility. He teaches us that sometimes the best way to find what we need is to stop searching and simply let it come to us. The forest provides. That was the golden rule of their existence. The river provided fish, the trees provided fruit, the rain provided water. There was no scarcity here, only the abundance of the earth. This feeling of abundance is a pillow for your mind. You can rest in the knowledge that you have enough, that you are enough. The legends of these people blended with the wind, becoming part of the atmosphere. They told stories of the forest spirits, the guardians who watched over the animals. They believed that every tree had a soul, a living essence that deserved respect. When they cut a tree to build a canoe, they asked for permission and they offered a prayer of thanks.
This gratitude created a circle of positive energy, a reciprocity between the human and the non-human. As you lie in the safety of your own space, try to adopt this mindset of gratitude. Be thankful for the shelter around you, for the warmth of your bed, for the air you breathe. It is the same air that the guardians breathed thousands of years ago. The sounds of the tribe are soft and melodic. The low hum of conversation, the laughter of children playing in the stream, the gentle clatter of wooden tools. These are human sounds, but they are not intrusive. They blend perfectly with the call of the toucan and the chirp of the cricket. It is a harmonious soundscape, a community living in balance. As the afternoon rains approach, the people retreat into their shelters. They lie in hammocks woven from cotton or bark fibers. The hammock is the perfect bed for the tropics, swinging gently with every movement, rocking the sleeper like a baby in a cradle. Imagine yourself lying in one of these hammocks now. The mesh supports your body evenly, eliminating all pressure points. You are suspended in the air, floating between the earth and the roof. The rain begins to fall on the thatched roof above you. Tap, tap, tap. It is a dry, hollow sound, distinct from the sound of rain on leaves. It is the sound of shelter. The guardians close their eyes and listen to the lullaby of the storm. They know they are safe. They know the forest is watering their garden. They drift into a midday slumber, a collective rest that recharges the spirit. This is the pace of life we are seeking tonight, a pace that honors rest as much as work, a pace that follows the weather. When it rains, we rest. When it is dark, we sleep. The connection these people had with the night was special. They did not fear the dark. They knew that the forest came alive in a different way after sunset. They sat around the glowing embers of the fire, telling stories in low voices. These stories were their library, their history, their school. The cadence of the storyteller's voice was rhythmic and chanting, designed to be remembered, designed to soothe.
The words flowed like the river, rising and falling, weaving tales of jaguars and moon goddesses. As you listen to the silence of your own room, you can almost hear the faint echoes of these ancient stories carried on the wind. They are stories of belonging, stories that tell you that you are part of this earth, that you have a place here. The smoke from the fire acts as a repellent, keeping the insects away, creating a bubble of comfort around the sleepers. The scent of the smoke is nostalgic, triggering a deep primal memory of safety. We all come from ancestors who sat around fires.
It is in our DNA to feel safe near the warmth of the hearth. The firelight dances on the faces of the sleepers, casting warm orange shadows that flicker and fade. The village becomes quiet. The only sound is the crackle of the wood and the breathing of the forest. The guardians of the green have done their work for the day. They have gathered their food. They have tended their families. They have honored the spirits. Now they surrender to sleep. Their sleep is deep and untroubled. They do not worry about the future, for they trust the forest. They do not regret the past, for they live in the now. They sleep with a lightness that we can emulate. They are grounded. They are connected. As you drift closer to your own sleep, imagine that you are being watched over by these benevolent guardians. They are the spirits of the forest, standing watch in the shadows, ensuring that the balance is kept. They are the protectors of the peace. The wind that rustles the curtains in your room is the same wind that rustled the palm fronds of their huts. It is a bridge across time. Walk across that bridge now. Leave the concrete and the steel behind and step back into the soft, mossy world of the first footsteps. Feel the earth beneath your bare feet in your mind. It is cool and damp. Feel the humidity embracing you like a warm hug. Feel the presence of the tribe around you, a circle of safety. You are one of them tonight. You are a guardian of your own rest. You are protecting your peace just as they protected the forest. The night deepens. The jungle sounds change. The daytime birds fall silent, and the night chorus begins. A rhythmic pulsing of frogs and insects that sounds like the heartbeat of the planet. It is a steady white noise that blocks out all other thoughts. The tribe sleeps. The forest sleeps. The trees stand tall and silent, their leaves drinking in the moonlight. The river flows quietly in the distance. Everything is as it should be. There is perfect order in the natural world. You can let go of control. You can let go of the need to understand everything. Just trust the process of sleep. Trust that your body knows what to do, just as the ancient tribes knew how to live. They did not need manuals or instructions. They followed their instincts. Follow your instinct now. Your eyelids are heavy. Your limbs are heavy. You are sinking into the hammock of the night, swaying gently, back and forth, back and forth. The fire dies down to glowing red coals, a soft, dim light that signals the end of the day. The smoke drifts up into the canopy, joining the clouds. The whispers of the legends fade into the rustling of the leaves. Peace settles over the village. Peace settles over the forest. Peace settles over you. The guardians are sleeping. The green world is holding them. And now it holds you too. Deep, restorative, ancient sleep.
The sun has now climbed the great ladder of the sky, reaching its zenith and hanging there like a burning coin of gold above the green ocean of the canopy. As the light reaches its peak intensity, a strange and wonderful phenomenon descends upon the rainforest. It is the time of the midday hush. The morning chorus of the birds, which was so vibrant and chaotic at dawn, begins to fade away, one voice at a time, until the forest falls into a profound and heavy silence. It is as if nature itself has decided that it is time to rest. The heat rises, not as an oppressive force, but as a thick, warm blanket that wraps around every tree, every leaf, and every living creature. This is the tropics' natural sedative.
The temperature signals to the biological clocks of the wild that activity must cease. The energy of the morning is gone, replaced by a sweet and heavy lethargy that seeps into the bones. Imagine the air becoming tangible. It is thick with humidity and warmth, moving like syrup. If you were to walk through the jungle now, you would feel the air parting slowly around you, resisting your movement, gently reminding you to slow down. But you are not walking, you are resting. You are observing this great pause from the comfort of your own stillness. The wind dies down completely during this time. The leaves, which had been dancing in the morning breeze, now hang perfectly still and limp from the branches. They turn their edges to the sun to conserve moisture, drooping in a posture of total relaxation. It is a visual cue for sleep. When the trees relax, you relax. The silence is not empty. It is a presence. It is a symphony of silence, where the absence of sound becomes a sound in itself. It is a heavy velvet silence that absorbs the world. Deep in the shadows of the undergrowth, the animals have surrendered to the heat. The jaguar, the fierce hunter we saw earlier, has found a cool hollow beneath the roots of a fallen ceiba tree. He lies there on his side, his spotted flank rising and falling with slow, rhythmic breaths. His eyes are closed tight. His paws twitch occasionally as he chases dreams through the landscape of sleep. He is not the king of the jungle right now. He is just a sleeping cat, overcome by the irresistible urge to nap. High above in the canopy, the troops of howler monkeys have ceased their roaring. They are draped over the thick branches like throw rugs, their limbs dangling loosely, their tails wrapped securely around the wood to anchor them. They huddle together in family piles, grooming each other lazily until their hands stop moving and they too drift off. The sloth, the true master of the hush, is in his element. He hangs upside down, blending perfectly with the mossy bark, and he does not move a single muscle. He is the guru of stillness, teaching us that there is nowhere to go and nothing to do. The midday hush is a permission slip from the universe. It tells you that it is okay to stop. It is okay to be unproductive.
In fact, it is the only natural thing to do. The forest does not grow linearly. It grows in cycles of activity and rest. You are currently in the cycle of rest. The river, too, seems to slow down under the weight of the noon sun. The surface becomes glassy and flat, reflecting the blinding white of the clouds with perfect clarity. The ripples smooth out. The water moves sluggishly, as if it too is sleepy. Heat haze shimmers above the water, distorting the view of the far bank, making the world look like a watercolor painting that has not quite dried. Soft edges, blurry lines, dreamy visuals. The insects change their tune. The high-pitched buzzing of the morning softens into a low, rhythmic drone, a steady hum that acts as white noise. It is a monotone sound, deeply boring and deeply relaxing. It is the sound of a fan whirring in a warm room. It lulls the mind into a trance. The light that filters down to the forest floor is dappled and still. The sunflecks do not dance anymore because the leaves are not moving. They lie on the ground like scattered gold coins, motionless and bright. The contrast between the bright spots of sun and the deep, cool shadows becomes more pronounced. You can imagine yourself curling up in one of those shadows, hidden from the heat, protected by the shade. The smell of the forest changes in the heat. The damp, earthy scent of the morning is replaced by the smell of baking resin and warm wood. It is a dry, aromatic scent, like a sauna. It smells of pine and sap and drying leaves. It is a warm comfort scent that fills the nostrils and relaxes the chest. This is the siesta, the sacred nap.
In many cultures that live in or near the rainforest, the siesta is not just a habit, it is a law of life. When the sun is high, we rest. We align our energy with the sun. Right now, the sun says stop, so we stop. We lay down our burdens, we close our eyes, we let the heat melt the tension from our shoulders. Imagine the warmth penetrating your muscles, turning them to jelly. It starts at your toes, warming them, relaxing them. It moves up your legs, heavy and soothing, into your hips, your stomach, your chest. The warmth creates a heaviness that pins you pleasantly to the bed. You are too heavy to move and too comfortable to care. The midday hush is a time of suspension. The world is holding its breath. The predatory instincts are turned off. The prey animals can relax. For these few hours, there is a truce in the jungle, a peace treaty signed by the sun. Everyone sleeps. The butterflies find the underside of a leaf and fold their wings. The snakes coil up in the dark crevices of the rocks. The birds tuck their heads under their wings. It is a collective hibernation, a mini winter in the middle of the day. As you listen to this description, feel the contagious nature of this sleepiness.
If the jaguar is sleeping, if the monkey is sleeping, if the trees are sleeping, then surely you can sleep too. You are part of this animal kingdom. You share the same biology. Your body responds to the same cues. The cue now is stillness. The cue now is silence. The air pressure seems to drop slightly, adding to the feeling of drowsiness. It is that heavy feeling before a storm, but without the storm, just the heaviness. The gravity seems to increase, pulling you down deeper into the mattress, deep down into the earth. The silence is so profound that you can hear the blood rushing in your own ears, a swooshing sound like the distant sea. It reminds you that you are alive, that your heart is beating, slowly and steadily. Thump, 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 thump. There is no need for thought in the midday hush. The heat dissolves thoughts. It is too hot to think. It is only cool enough to dream. The brain waves slow down, shifting from the beta waves of alertness to the alpha and theta waves of deep relaxation. You are drifting into the theta state, the state of the daydream, the state of the hush. The forest is a master hypnotist. It uses the heat, the light, and the sound to put everything under a spell, the spell of the siesta. Even the colors seem to become less intense. The bright greens fade into a hazy olive. The flowers seem to close up slightly. The visual stimulation is turned down. The volume is turned down. The world is fading out. You are floating in a warm bath of air, supported, held, warmed. The concept of time disappears in the hush. Is it 1 o'clock? Is it 2 o'clock? It does not matter. The clock has stopped. There is only the eternal present, the moment of rest. The indigenous people of the Amazon call this the time when the spirits walk, because the forest is so quiet. It is a holy time, a time to be respected, a time to be silent. You are respecting the silence by closing your eyes. You are honoring the hush by slowing your breath. Inhale the warm air. Exhale the stress. Inhale the peace. Exhale the noise. The cycle continues, slow and rhythmic. The river of air flows in and out of your lungs, just as the Amazon flows to the sea. But now the flow is slower. Much slower. The great serpent is napping. The green giants are napping. The guardians are napping. The whole world is taking a break. You are safe to join them. No one is watching.
No one is expecting anything from you. The emails can wait. The chores can wait. The world will still be there when you wake up. But for now, the world has stopped. It has paused just for you, to give you this moment of pure, unadulterated rest. The heat is a weight, a lovely, comforting weight, like a heavy woolen blanket on a winter night, but this is a blanket of sun on a tropical day. The effect is the same: security, warmth, sleep. The midday hush is the bridge between the morning and the evening, but it is a long bridge, a bridge that stretches out for hours. You are walking across this bridge slowly, stopping to look over the edge at the sleeping world below. The view is peaceful. The feeling is serene. You are heavy. You are warm. You are quiet. The symphony of silence is playing its final movement, a long, sustained note of peace. It vibrates in your chest. It settles in your mind. It is the sound of the universe sleeping, and you are the soloist in this symphony. Your sleep is the music. Your rest is the song. Let the hush take over. Let the heat win. Surrender to the siesta. Surrender to the green dream. The jungle is silent. The air is still. You are asleep. We leave the heavy shadows of the forest floor now and begin a gentle ascent. Let your imagination defy gravity. Let your spirit become as light as a single spore of moss drifting upwards on a thermal of warm air. We are traveling up the massive column of a mahogany tree, gliding past the rough bark, past the dark mid-story levels, rising higher and higher towards the light. We are entering a secret world that few humans ever see. We are entering the Canopy Kingdom. This is the roof of the rainforest, but it is not a ceiling of slate or tile. It is a ceiling of life. As we emerge into the upper branches, the world transforms. We have arrived at the floating gardens. Imagine a landscape where the ground is 100 feet below you, invisible and irrelevant. Here in the canopy, the earth is made of wood and leaves. The branches of the giant trees stretch out like massive horizontal arms, and upon these arms, nature has planted the most exquisite gardens. These are the epiphytes, the plants that live on air. They do not need to touch the soil to survive. They are the true inhabitants of the sky. Look around you at this suspended paradise. It is a botanical wonderland hanging in the ether. The branches are draped in thick green blankets of moss and ferns that cascade down like emerald curtains. But the jewels of this kingdom are the bromelias and the orchids. Imagine the bromelias, huge and spiky, growing in the crook of a tree branch. They look like prehistoric pineapples, their stiff, waxy leaves arranging themselves in a perfect spiral. These plants are the water tanks of the canopy. Their leaves form a tight cup at the center, a chalice that catches the rain and holds it. In these tiny, high-altitude pools, entire ecosystems exist. A tiny tree frog might spend its whole life in this pool, never touching the ground, living in a private swimming pool high above the world. Visualize the water in the bromelias, crystal clear and still, reflecting the sky. It is a symbol of self-sufficiency, a symbol of finding what you need right where you are. As you drift through these hanging gardens, you notice the orchids. They are the chandeliers of the forest. They dangle from the branches on long, delicate stems, their roots hanging down into the air like tangled white thread. These roots absorb the moisture directly from the mist, drinking the clouds. The flowers themselves are breathtaking, soft petals of lavender, vanilla white, and pale yellow, glowing in the filtered sunlight. They look like frozen butterflies, like intricate paper lanterns lit from within. The scent here is intoxicating but subtle. It is a perfume of vanilla and sweet nectar drifting on the breeze. Breathe it in. Let the sweet, clean air of the canopy fill your lungs. This is the purest air on the planet, oxygenated by the very leaves you are touching. It is a heady mix that makes your head feel light and your body feel relaxed. The floating gardens are not still like the forest floor. They are in constant, gentle motion. The wind here is a lullaby. It catches the branches and sways them back and forth, rockabye baby in the treetops. The entire canopy is a cradle rocking the life within it to sleep. You are in that cradle now. Feel the sensation of swaying.
It is a rhythmic motion, like a boat on a gentle swell. It triggers the vestibular system in your inner ear, telling your brain that it is time to sleep. It is the same motion that rocked you before you were born, comforting, primal, hypnotic. The light up here is different, too. It is brighter, but it is diffracted by the millions of leaves, creating a kaleidoscope of green and gold. It is a stained glass cathedral of light. But as the afternoon wears on, the light begins to soften, turning to a warm honey gold that bathes everything in nostalgic glow. The orchids seem to shine in this light. They hang suspended in the void, defying gravity, just as you are defying the weight of your worries. Up here in the floating gardens, the problems of the earth feel very small. They are down there in the mud, while you are up here among the flowers. You have distance. You have perspective. The height is not scary. It is liberating. You are supported by the strength of the ancient trees. The branches are as wide as roads, solid and unshakable. You can rest your weight on them. You can curl up on a bed of thick moss on a high branch and look out over the green ocean. The view stretches for miles, a rolling carpet of broccoli-topped trees extending to the horizon. It is a sea of green under a sea of blue. The vastness of it quiets the mind. There is no end to the forest, just as there is no end to the peace you can find within yourself. As you explore the hanging gardens, you see vines that loop and drape from tree to tree, like the rigging of a great sailing ship. These are the lianas, the cables that tie the forest together. They are ancient and woody, thick as a human leg, twisting in spirals towards the sun. They add to the feeling of interconnectedness. Everything here is holding onto everything else. The orchid holds the moss holds the branch holds the vine. It is a community of support. You are supported too. You are held by the bed you lie in, held by the floor beneath it, held by the foundation of your home. You are part of this chain of support. Let yourself be held. Let yourself hang limp like the roots of the orchid. There is no need to grasp or cling. Gravity will do the work. The floating gardens are a place of magic, where the impossible seems real. Plants growing without soil, frogs living in flowers, water pools in the sky. It is a dreamscape. And as you visualize it, you are stepping into a lucid dream. The boundaries of reality are softening. The bromeliads are not just plants, they are goblets of peace, offering you a drink of silence. The orchids are not just flowers, they are silent bells ringing the hour of sleep. The swaying of the trees is the breathing of the world. Inhale as the branch lifts, exhale as it dips. Ride the wave of the wind. The air is cooler up here, a refreshing draft that cools your skin. It rushes through the leaves with a sound like rushing water. Shh, shh. It is the ultimate white noise, the sound of a billion leaves whispering together. They are whispering secrets of the sky, telling you to let go, telling you to float. To be weightless, to be free. The floating gardens are a sanctuary above the fray. The predators of the floor do not come here. The noise of the ground does not reach here. It is a penthouse of peace, a secluded retreat in the clouds. Imagine yourself as a cloud caught in the branches, soft, white, and formless. You are just drifting through the leaves. You pass through the petals of a purple orchid and smell its sweet fragrance. You brush against the velvet moss. You hover over the water in the bromeliad. You are a spirit of the air. Lightness is the key to this chapter of sleep. Feeling the heaviness of your body turn into the lightness of a feather. Your limbs feel hollow and light. Your head feels airy. You are ready to float away into the land of Nod. The Canopy is a kingdom of slow time. The seasons here are marked by the blooming of the orchids. It is a cycle of beauty. There is no winter here, only eternal summer, eternal growth, eternal green. It is a hopeful place, a place where life always finds a way. Even on a bare branch, life finds a foothold. This resilience is comforting. It tells you that you too can thrive, that you too can find a place to rest, even in thin air. The sun begins to dip lower, casting long horizontal rays that light up the mist hanging in the branches. The floating gardens turn into a golden realm. The water droplets on the leaves catch the light and sparkle like diamonds. It is a visual feast that slowly fades as the light withdraws. The gold turns to amber, the amber to violet. The shadows in the canopy lengthen, creating pockets of darkness where sleep can hide. The birds of the canopy, the toucans and the macaws are settling down, finding their roosts for the night. You can hear their soft calls, adjusting their feathers, getting comfortable. They are your companions in rest. You are roosting with them, high in the safety of the leaves. The movement of the trees slows down as the wind dies with the sun. The rocking becomes gentler, slower, barely a tremor, just a soothing vibration. The floating gardens are coming to a standstill. The orchids hang motionless. The bromeliads hold their water in stillness. The world is stopping. The sky is darkening. The canopy is closing its eyes. And you are floating there in the center of it all, suspended in the twilight, wrapped in the scent of vanilla, cradled by the mahogany. You are a child of the sky tonight. You are an epiphyte rooted in the air, fed by the mist. There is nothing to do but hang there and sleep. The ground is far away. The world is far away. There is only the green, the air, and the peace. The floating gardens are your bed. The clouds are your pillow. The sky is your blanket. Drift among the flowers. Sleep among the leaves. Float in the canopy kingdom. High above, safe and sound, asleep. The great golden eye of the sun has watched over the rainforest all day, but now it is heavy and tired, and it begins its slow descent towards the western horizon. We have reached the most magical hour in the jungle, the time of Twilight's embrace. This is the shift, the crossing of the threshold between the kingdom of the day and the empire of the night. It is a time of profound transformation, not just for the forest, but for your own body and mind. As you visualize the light changing, feel your own internal rhythm shifting gears, slowing down, preparing for the journey into dreams. The transition begins with the golden hour. The fierce white light of the tropical afternoon softens and deepens, turning into a rich, syrupy gold that pours over the canopy like honey. It coats the leaves in a warm amber glow, making the green world look as if it is lit from within. Every texture becomes more defined. The rough bark of the trees, the veins of the leaves, the ripples on the river,
All are highlighted in this final affectionate touch of the sun. It is a time of beauty so intense it demands stillness. You cannot rush through a sunset like this. You must stop and watch. Watch as the shadows on the forest floor begin to lengthen. They stretch out like long, dark fingers, reaching across the moss, gently touching the roots and the ferns, claiming the land for the night. The shadows are not scary. They are cool and inviting. They are the blankets being pulled up over the earth. As the sun dips lower, touching the jagged silhouette of the distant mountains, the colors of the sky begin to perform a silent opera. Shades of violet, lavender, apricot, and rose streak across the heavens, reflecting in the mirror of the Amazon River below. The water turns into liquid fire, shimmering with the colors of the sunset. It is a visual lullaby. The changing colors are a signal to your pineal gland, a biological command that says, the day is done. Release the melatonin. Let the body rest. The birds of the day, the noisy parrots and the busy hummingbirds sense this shift. Their calls change from the active chatter of foraging to the softer melodic calls of roosting. They're finding their safe places, tucking their heads under their wings, settling in for the long night. You can feel a sense of communal settling. The whole forest is getting ready for bed. The monkeys are huddling together on their branches. The butterflies have folded their wings. The wind, which has been blowing gently all afternoon, sighs one last time and then dies away completely, leaving the air still and heavy. This stillness is the breath of twilight. It is a pause between the inhale of the day and the exhale of the night. In this pause, there is perfect peace. The golden light fades slowly, turning to a bruised purple, and then to a deep oceanic blue. This is the blue hour, the time when the details of the world are lost and everything becomes a silhouette. The trees lose their green and become towering black shapes against the indigo sky. They look like guardians standing watch over your sleep. The understory becomes a sea of shadows where the edges of reality blur. This blurring is comforting. It means you no longer have to focus. You no longer have to pay attention to the sharp edges of life.
You can let your vision go soft. You can let your mind go soft. The temperature begins to drop as the sun disappears. A cool wave of air moves through the forest, refreshing and cleansing. It feels like a cool hand on a fevered brow. It soothes the heat of the day away. It tells your skin that it is time to snuggle under the covers. The transition from sun to moon is not abrupt. It is a seamless gradient. Just as you do not fall asleep in an instant, but drift slowly into it, the day drifts slowly into night. It is a gentle handover of power. The sun bows down and the moon rises up. Look up through the gaps in the canopy and see the first stars appearing. They are faint at first, shy little pinpricks of light struggling against the twilight. But as the blue deepens, they grow brighter and bolder. They are the night lights of the universe, the sentinels of the dark. And then the moon appears, a pale silver crescent rising over the rim of the world. Its light is not the hot, demanding light of the sun. It is a cool, passive light. It does not ask you to grow or to work. It only asks you to dream. The moonlight filters down through the leaves, creating a new landscape of silver and black. The forest is transformed into a dreamscape, a place of mystery and magic. The familiar shapes of the day are gone, replaced by the soft suggestions of the night. The sounds of the forest change too. The diurnal creatures have fallen silent, and the nocturnal symphony begins. But it starts slowly. A single cricket chirping, a lone frog croaking. It is a minimalist soundtrack, gentle and rhythmic. It is the heartbeat of the night. As you lie there, listening to the imaginary sounds of the twilight, feel the shift in your own body. Your heart rate slows down, matching the fading light. Your breathing becomes deeper and more rhythmic, matching the swaying of the shadows. The tension in your muscles evaporates with the last rays of the sun. You are surrendering to the embrace of the twilight. It is a hug from the universe, a reassurance that the day is over and you have done enough. You have survived, you have lived, and now you have permission to rest. The twilight is a bridge that connects the waking world to the sleeping world. You are walking across this bridge now. The wood is cool beneath your feet. The air is fresh. The destination is the land of dreams. Behind you, the day is burning out in embers of orange. Ahead of you, the night is waiting in shades of cool blue. You are moving towards the blue, towards the cool, towards the quiet. The psychological effect of twilight is powerful. It triggers a primitive response in us. For thousands of years, our ancestors used this time to gather together, to seek safety, to prepare for sleep. Your body remembers this. Your DNA remembers the comfort of the fire and the safety of the cave. Tonight, your bedroom is the cave. Your bed is the safety. The twilight outside is the signal. The colors of the sky are now a deep navy blue, almost black. The silhouette of the trees is stark and beautiful. The forest has become a cathedral of shadows.
The pillars of the trees are black columns supporting the starry roof. It is a holy place, a quiet place, a place where silence is worshipped. The shift is complete. The sun is gone. The moon is high. The reign of the night has begun. But in this story, we linger in the feeling of the transition, the delicious sensation of letting go, the feeling of unbuttoning the tight collar of the day, the feeling of taking off the heavy shoes of responsibility. The twilight allows you to undress your soul, to be naked and vulnerable and safe in the dark. The shadows are not empty darkness. They are filled with the energy of rest. They are heavy with sleep. They press against your eyelids, gently weighing them down. You cannot keep them open. The blue light is too soothing. The darkness is too inviting. You must close your eyes. And when you do, the twilight moves inside you. The blue shadows fill your mind, washing away the bright, frantic thoughts of the day. The golden anxiety fades into a cool blue calm. The internal sun sets, and the internal moon rises. You are reflecting the world around you. You are one with the forest. The shift is physical, mental, and spiritual. It is a total alignment with the cycle of the planet. The earth turns away from the sun, and you turn away from the world. It is a natural turning, a necessary turning. Without the night, there can be no day. Without sleep, there can be no life. Embrace the twilight. Let it wrap you in its cool arms. Let it sing you its silent song. The transition is smooth. There is no bump, no jolt, just a sliding down the curve of the earth into the shadow, sliding down the curve of consciousness into the dream. The twilight is the majestic usher opening the door to the theater of sleep. The show is about to begin. The seats are soft, the lights are dimming, the audience is quiet. You are ready. The golden hour has passed, the blue hour is here. The night has arrived, and it has brought with it the gift of deep, heavy, restorative sleep. The forest is dark now, a beautiful velvet darkness that sparkles with fireflies, tiny living stars that mirror the stars above. They dance in the silence, creating trails of light in the gloom. Follow them with your mind's eye. Let them lead you deeper into the dark, deeper into the comfort, deeper into the embrace. The day is a memory, the night is a reality, and you are drifting, floating, sinking into the sweet dark peace of the twilight's end. Sleep is not just coming, it is here, it is in the air, it is in the shadows, it is in you. The sun has set, the moon watches, the forest sleeps, and so do you. The night has fully descended, and the forest is wrapped in a cloak of darkness. But there is one final guest arriving to tuck the world in. It is the rain. In the rainforest, rain is not an event, it is a presence, a constant companion that shapes the rhythm of existence. It begins not with a sound, but with a smell, the scent of ozone and wet earth drifting through the trees, a heavy metallic perfume that signals the breaking of the heat. The air becomes thick and charged with moisture. You can feel the anticipation in the atmosphere, a collective holding of breath as the clouds lower themselves onto the canopy. And then it starts. The first drop falls. It travels thousands of feet from the gray sky and lands with a heavy, solid tap on a broad, waxy leaf of a philodendron. Plip. Then silence. Then another. Plop. Then two more. Tap, tap. It is a slow and deliberate introduction. Nature is testing the acoustics of the forest. Within moments, the isolated drops join hands and the tempo increases, turning from a staccato rhythm into a steady, continuous hiss. This is the eternal rainfall. It is nature's oldest lullaby, a song that has been sung to the earth since the oceans were born. Close your eyes and let your entire awareness be consumed by this sound. It is a wall of white noise, rich and complex, filling every frequency of your hearing. It is the sound of a million tiny collisions as water meets leaf, water meets wood, and water meets water. It is a sound that blocks out everything else. There is no room for worry in a rainstorm like this. There is no room for planning or thinking. There is only the rain. The sound is incredibly textured. High above in the canopy, where the leaves are small and tough, the rain sounds sharp and crisp, a high-pitched rustling like silk being rubbed together. Lower down in the understory, where the leaves are huge and broad, the rain sounds deep and hollow, like a drum being beaten softly with a padded mallet. And on the forest floor, where the rain hits the soft carpet of moss and decay, it makes a wet squelching sound, a sound of total absorption. Together, these sounds create a symphony of water, a full orchestra of liquid music playing just for you. Imagine you are safely ensconced in a dry, comfortable shelter in the middle of this downpour. You are perfectly dry, perfectly warm, and perfectly safe. The contrast between the wet world outside and your dry sanctuary inside is the essence of coziness. It triggers a deep, primal feeling of security. The harder the rain falls, the safer you feel. The rain acts as a curtain, separating you from the demands of the world. It washes away the footprints of the day. It washes away the dust and the heat. It is a great cleansing, a baptism of the spirit. Visualize the rain falling in sheets of silver, washing over the bark of the ancient trees, turning them black and glistening. The water runs down the grooves of the wood in tiny rivulets, finding the path of least resistance, joining together to form small streams that feed the roots. The forest is drinking. You can almost hear the sigh of relief from the vegetation as the cool water hits it. The thirst of the day is quenched. The rain brings the temperature down rapidly, cooling the air, creating a fresh, crisp atmosphere that is perfect for sleeping. The humidity rises to 100%, wrapping you in a cloud of comfort. This is the ultimate sleep machine. No electronic device can replicate the complexity and the depth of real rain. It is a chaotic yet orderly sound. It is random yet rhythmic. Your brain tries to find a pattern in it, but there is none, and so the mind gives up. It stops trying to process. It surrenders. It lets go. This surrender is the gateway to deep sleep. The sound of the rain is a drone, a steady hum that anchors you in the present moment. Listen to the variations in the intensity. Sometimes the wind picks up and the rain sweeps across the forest in a wave, a rushing sound that approaches and then passes like a train in the distance. Whoosh! And then it settles back into the steady vertical fall. Shh! It is a hypnotic sound. Shh! The forest is saying, hush. The sky is saying, hush. The water is whispering to your cells, reminding them that they too are made of water. You are connected to this rain. The fluid in your body responds to the fluid in the sky. It is a reunion of elements. As the rain continues, it creates a rhythm that syncs with your breathing. Inhale as the rain gathers strength. Exhale as it softens. Inhale the fresh, cool air. Exhale the stale thoughts. The rain is doing the work for you. It is washing the world clean so that tomorrow can be a new beginning. But for now, there is only the night and the water. The rain falls on the river, creating a surface of 1 billion ripples, a chaotic texture that dances in the dark. It falls on the sleeping birds who are huddled tight against the trunks of the trees, their feathers shedding the water, keeping them dry. It falls on the jaguar sleeping in his cave. It falls on the flowers, weighing them down so they bow their heads in submission. Everyone is submitting to the rain. There is no fighting it. You just have to wait it out. And the best way to wait is to sleep. The heaviness of the rain is a blanket. Imagine a weighted blanket made of water covering the roof of your house, covering the trees, covering the earth. It presses down gently, containing the energy of the planet, keeping everything grounded. The rain creates a boundary. It defines the space you're in. You are here. The world is out there, and the rain is the wall between. This isolation is blissful. It gives you permission to be alone, to be with yourself, to be in your dreams. The sound of water is the most healing sound on earth. It lowers blood pressure. It slows the heart rate. It reduces cortisol. It is medicine falling from the sky. Drink it in with your ears. Let it soak into your mind. Let it drench your spirit in peace. The eternal rainfall feels like it has no beginning and no end. It is a loop of time. It feels as though it has been raining for 1,000 years and will rain for 1,000 more. This timelessness is comforting. It removes the pressure of the clock.
If the rain is eternal, then there is no rush. There is only this endless moment of wet, dark peace. The water collects on the leaves until the weight is too much, and then it tips, pouring a stream of water onto the leaf below. This cascading water creates a secondary rhythm, a slow, dripping melody that plays over the white noise of the heavy rain. Drip, drop, drip, drop. It is a metronome for your sleep. Count the drops if you like, or just let them blur into the background. The visuals of the rain are dark and soothing, silver streaks against the black night, the flash of a drop catching the moonlight, the mist rising from the warm ground as the cool rain hits it. It is a moody, atmospheric scene, a scene from a movie where the hero finally finds rest. You are that hero. You have journeyed through the mist and the heat and the mountains, and now you have found the shelter. The rain is the final layer of protection. It seals you in. The intensity of the storm may wax and wane, but the presence of the water is constant. Even when it lightens to a drizzle, the sound is there, a soft whispering on the roof,
a gentle patter on the glass. It is a reminder that nature is still awake, so you don't have to be. The guardians are wet, but you are dry. The trees are soaking, but you are warm. This feeling of contrast is the key to comfort. Snuggle deeper into your bed, pull the covers up to your chin, feel the warmth of your own body, generated and trapped by the blankets. Listen to the rain trying to get in, but it cannot. You are safe. The rain beats against the windows of your mind, washing away the images of the day, the faces, the screens, the traffic. They are all dissolved by the water. They run down the drain of your subconscious, leaving your mind clear and empty, a clean slate, a wet slate, ready for dreams. The eternal rainfall is a gift of privacy, a gift of silence, a gift of sleep. The sound is wrapping around you like a cocoon. It is spinning a web of water around your bed. You are suspended in the center of the storm, untouched and peaceful. The heavier the rain, the deeper the sleep. Let it pour, let the heavens open, let the Amazon River in the sky empty itself. It only makes your sleep deeper. It only makes your rest sweeter. The white noise is a smooth surface that your mind slides across, sliding towards oblivion, sliding towards the dark. The rain is the soundtrack of your rest. It will play all night long. You do not need to turn it off. It will fade when the sun rises, but for now it is yours. It is your private concert, your private therapy, your private lullaby. The leaves bow under the weight, the moss swells with the water, the earth drinks, and you sleep and sleep. The rhythm is steady now, a constant heavy hum. The variation is gone. It is just one long, continuous sound of peace. It is the sound of the womb, the sound of safety, the sound of home. The rain falls, the sleeper sleeps, the night is wet and dark and wonderful. You are one with the water. You are one with the rain. You are asleep.
The rain has softened now to a gentle mist, and the wind has died away completely, leaving the forest in a state of absolute and sacred stillness. We have journeyed through the ages tonight, traveling from the primordial mists to the drifting continents, from the towering cathedral of the Canopy to the shadows of the Understory, and now we have arrived at the end of our journey. It is time to stop moving. It is time to stop watching. It is time to sink. We are going down to the very foundation of the forest, down to the place where everything begins and everything ends. We are going to the roots. Imagine your awareness moving slowly downwards, past the leaves that are heavy with water, past the branches that are still and silent, past the trunks that stand like dark pillars in the night. You are descending into the earth itself. Visualize the soil beneath the rainforest floor. It is deep and dark and incredibly rich. It is the skin of the planet. And woven through this soil like a vast and complex nervous system are the roots. These are the anchors of the world. Think of the massive buttress roots of the kapok tree spreading out like giant wooden walls, giving stability to the giant above. Think of the taproots drilling down deep into the bedrock, searching for the heart of the earth. These roots have been holding on for centuries. They have held on through storms and droughts, through day and night, through history and time. They are the definition of strength. They are the definition of stability. And as you lie there in your bed, I want you to feel that same stability beneath you. Imagine that you too are growing roots. Visualize them extending gently from your back, from your legs, from your heels, moving down through the mattress, down through the floor, down into the solid ground beneath your home. You are not floating anymore. You are anchored. You are connected to the earth.
Feel the sensation of gravity getting stronger. It is a friendly force, a heavy hand pressing you down into the bed, telling you that it is safe to let go because the earth has you. You cannot fall off the earth, you can only be held by it. The roots of the forest are intertwined deep underground, holding hands in the dark. They share nutrients, they share water, and they share information. They are a community of support, and you are part of that community now. You are plugged into the energy of the planet. It is a slow energy, the energy of a stone, the energy of a mountain, the energy of deep, deep sleep. The darkness of the soil is comforting. It is a blackout curtain for your mind. There is no light down here in the roots. There is only the cool, quiet safety of the underground. It is the perfect place to hibernate, to rest your tired eyes, to shut out the visual world completely. You are resting in the heart of the world. Imagine the core of the planet, thousands of miles beneath you, spinning slowly, generating the magnetic field that protects us all. You are aligned with that core.
Your center of gravity is sinking lower and lower, dropping from your head down to your chest, down to your stomach, down to your hips. You are getting heavier, so wonderfully heavy. Your arms feel like logs of heavy wood resting by your sides. They are too heavy to lift. Your legs feel like bags of sand sinking into the mattress. Every muscle is unraveling. Every knot of tension is dissolving into the earth. The forest is breathing, and now you are breathing with it. Listen to the rhythm, the slow expansion of the roots as they drink the water, the slow contraction of the soil as it settles for the night. Match your breath to this geologic rhythm. Inhale slowly, drawing up the peace from the ground. Exhale slowly, releasing everything that is not sleep. Inhale stability. Exhale worry. Inhale the ancient calm. Exhale the modern noise. You are merging with the forest. The boundary between you and the tree is disappearing. You are the tree. You are standing tall in your dreams, but your body is resting deep in the earth. The sap of the tree is your blood, moving slow and steady. The bark of the tree is your skin, protected and tough. The leaves are your thoughts, and they are all falling away now, one by one, drifting down to the forest floor to become soil. Let your thoughts fall. Let them detach and float away. You do not need them right now. You only need the roots. You only need the dark. The history of the rainforest is a history of endurance. It has survived for 50 million years. It has seen the dinosaurs come and go. It has seen the ice ages come and go. It has seen civilizations rise and fall, and through it all, it has simply kept growing, kept breathing, kept sleeping. This resilience is inside you, too. You have survived your day. You have survived your week. You have weathered the storms. And now, like the ancient forest, you deserve to rest. You deserve to recharge. The earth recharges in the dark, and so do you. Feel the silence wrapping around you, tighter and warmer. It is a silence that comes from deep underground, the silence of the cave, the silence of the seed waiting to sprout. It is a pregnant silence, full of potential, but for now it is just quiet. The sounds of the rain have faded to a distant memory. The sounds of the jungle have faded. There is only the sound of your own breath and the deep hum of existence. You are safe. You are grounded. You are home.
The roots hold you fast. Nothing can move you. The wind may blow high above in the canopy, but down here in the deep earth, there is no wind. There is only stillness, perfect, absolute stillness. Dwell in this stillness. Bathe in it. Let it soak into your bones. It is the stillness of eternity, the stillness of the stars, the stillness of the deep ocean, the stillness of the deep roots.
Your consciousness is moving deeper now, traveling down the taproot, moving away from the surface, moving away from the light, down into the warm embrace of the subconscious. The dreams are waiting for you there, not the frantic dreams of the day, but the slow, wise dreams of the earth, dreams of green and gold, dreams of floating and flying, dreams of healing. The forest is the great healer, and sleep is its medicine. Take the medicine now. Drink the darkness, swallow the silence. Let the sleep wash over you like a tide of warm mud, gentle and covering. You are buried in comfort, buried in blankets, buried in peace. The world above is gone. It does not exist for the next 8 hours. There is only this cocoon, this sanctuary. The journey we took tonight was a long one, but it was a circle. We started in the mist and we end in the earth. From dust to dust, from mist to roots. The circle is complete. You have arrived. The destination is you. The destination is sleep. Your heart rate is slow and steady, like the beat of a drum in a distant valley. Your breathing is shallow and rhythmic, like the tide on a calm shore. Your mind is blank and smooth, like a polished stone. You are ready. You are drifting. The roots are cradling you. The earth is rocking you. The night is keeping you. There is nothing left to say. There is nothing left to hear. The story is over. The sleep begins. Deep roots, deep sleep, deep peace. Let go of the last thread of awareness. Let it slip through your fingers. Fall. Fall gently into the velvet dark. Fall into the arms of the forest. Fall into the heart of the world. You are the seed sleeping in the soil. You are the stone resting in the river. You are the root gripping the earth. You are asleep, deeply asleep. The forest protects you. The night loves you. The silence keeps you. Sleep now. Sleep, sleep, sleep.